Could you be masturbating the wrong way? I'm Dr. Rena Malik, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and today we're going to talk about the things that you do during masturbation that might actually be causing a problem during your sex life. Now, a little disclaimer, this video is not meant to say that masturbation is bad or unhealthy in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I believe it's totally healthy and a normal expression of sexuality and a great way to experience pleasure and learn more about your body and what gives it pleasure. So let's get into the things that you might be doing that may be causing issues. Now, if you guys aren't new here, you know I tend to really lean on evidence-based information about health. Now, in these circumstances, the things I'm going to talk about are mentioned in the literature, but there's not an abundance of literature on these topics. But despite this, I hear a lot about this stuff in my own practice. And so I think that certainly despite it not having an abundance of literature about it, these things really can happen and can create issues in your sex life. Number one, using the death grip technique, or any technique that basically you can't replicate with a mouth, a vagina, fingers, or a penis. Now, death grip is exactly what it sounds like. You squeeze your penis with significant amounts of force, and often that's accompanied by moving very quickly or increasing the speed, which then causes your body to get accustomed or habituated to that particular situation. Your body can get habituated to any number of things. For some people, they masturbate with their body facing the mattress or some sort of hard surface. For some, they'll use very strong vibration. And sometimes these things can become a vicious cycle. So initially, you'll feel obviously great, amazing pleasure, which is short-lived. But over time, that tight grip or that intense stimulation leads to a little bit of decreased sensitivity of the genitals. And then subconsciously or consciously, the person tries to increase the stimulation, either by gripping harder or using an even stronger stimuli, and so on and so forth. Now, if you do this once in a while, it's fun, it's not a big deal, but if you do it the same way every single time, your body might start having a hard time climaxing when you're with a partner or trying a different type of stimuli. Now, to avoid this, what I recommend, generally speaking, is to mix it up. Try loosening your grip, maybe adding some lubricant, maybe slowing down, using it as a time to explore and enjoy yourself. You might even find that things that you never thought would be enjoyable would be, like using a feather or something that has a really light touch, could actually be very pleasurable. Now, number two is doing it the same way every time. Now, this is similar, but not exactly the same. So what I mean here is that if you're constantly relying on some sort of stimuli to get you aroused, so that means using a particular fantasy, an erotic film, even an erotic novel that you go back to each and every time you want to get in the mood to masturbate, then when you're with your partner, you might not be able to get the same level of arousal, particularly when you're watching maybe more aggressive or more intense types of pornography. Now, again, I'm not anti-pornography. I think it can be used in a very healthy way, but oftentimes people become very used to watching a certain type of thing that gets them aroused, and then when they see their partner, they just can't get that same level of arousal because it's not ever going to be that intense. Now, I realize this is something that can get you quickly and efficiently in the mood, which is great when you're trying to let loose. So again, I'm not against using any sort of stimuli to get you aroused, but just change it up. Try having a fantasy, or talking or texting with your partner, or reading a book, or, watching a different kind of video, or watching pornography with your partner, and realize that there's so many things that can get you aroused and still keep your sex life really exciting. Now, obviously, if you find yourself struggling with arousal because maybe your partner or the new partner that you're with is not meeting the same level of arousal that you get when watching a pornography, this leads to anxiety and frustration, right? And then this can lead to a lot of what we call performance anxiety, or just stress around sex. I hate the term performance anxiety, but ultimately, yeah, sex is supposed to be fun and playful. And this leads to a whole host of other issues. If you're having trouble getting aroused with your partner, this leads to more stress. And then when you're with them, you're stressed or anxious that, oh my God, what if I can't get aroused, or I can't get my erection to be firm enough, or I can't have an orgasm with my partner, and now that's all I'm focused on. I'm not focused on the pleasure at hand. So one, it's going to be even more difficult to climax, and two, your stress is going to kill any chance of you getting aroused. And then you're like, oh man, it didn't work, and now that stress gets worse and worse and worse, and it becomes this vicious cycle. So really, I think it's okay. This may happen to you, but realizing that it's a one-off and figuring out how you can work through it and be with your partner and be in the moment with them, enjoying that pleasure with them. Number 3 is not using lubricant or using the wrong lubricant. You guys, lube is great. It reduces friction, makes it more fun and slippery, and is the closest thing you can use to stimulate wet body parts. It's also pretty damn cheap, and it can last a long time. So I've made an entire video about lubricants, so make sure to check that out. But basically, there's 3 different types. Water-based, which tend to evaporate, so you need to realize that you'll have to reapply if you're going for a longer session. Silicone and oil-based last longer, and you need less of them to get the job done, but it's really all about personal preference. If you don't have lubricant at home, olive oil or coconut oil can be a reasonable alternative, but don't use things like Vaseline or lotion because those can irritate the sensitive skin in your genitals. Number 4, making it a quickie. Now, many people have trained themselves to masturbate quickly and quietly because all of us remember when you're younger, the last thing you wanted was your parents to walk in on you when you're masturbating. And a lot of people have then carried that fear or anxiety or guilt or even shame with us when it comes to masturbation. Now, I'm all for being efficient with time, so a quickie here or there is okay and it's fine. But I encourage you all to explore your body, take your time and try new things. You don't have to feel guilty. It's your body. And self-love is safe love. Now, why is a quickie a problem, right? The issue with making it a quickie every single time when you're by yourself means that you might also make it a quickie every time you're with your partner, which means that you might have premature ejaculation or orgasm before you'd like to. And then you have to train yourself to stop doing that, which is a lot less fun than taking time by yourself when you're alone to enjoy masturbation. Number 5, nix the guilt. Guilt is a really powerful emotion, and it can make you feel in a negative way about yourself when you're thinking about yourself as a sexual being. And while you think, okay, that only happens when you masturbate, other times you're really sex positive, oftentimes those feelings of shame and guilt can follow you into other parts of your life, even if you don't realize they're there. Again, masturbation is normal, healthy, and nothing to be ashamed of. So work on learning to accept it and accept yourself as you are. Everyone is entitled to feel good and experience pleasure and have orgasms. And guess what? When you do it by yourself, you don't need to rely on anything else. You don't have to be of a certain status. You don't have to have a certain job title. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. You are entitled to enjoy yourself, and you deserve that. If you guys are enjoying this content, check out my newsletter at rinamalikmd.beehive.com, where you can get an email from me each and every week where I review some research that you might find interesting. I also answer subscriber questions, and I let you know a little bit about what's going on in my life. So I hope I'll see you there. And as always, remember to take care of yourself because you're worth it.